The Labour Party is obsessed with the partnership state, with putting the treaty at the heart of everything. But you know what's interesting is that the treaty is not at the heart of the Labour Party. Its 123-page constitution mentions the treaty 3 times in passing. There's no co-governance in the Labour Party itself. Its first principle is that all political authority comes from the people by democratic means, including universal suffrage, regular and free elections, with a secret ballot. Why might that be? Well, because the idea of co-governance is incompatible with democracy. Democracy means one person, one vote. It is the basis of New Zealand's one truly globally significant political achievement, realising the idea that every adult citizen has the same right to vote, the same political rights. Now, the opposite of that principle is being rolled out in healthcare with 2 systems. It's being rolled out in infrastructure with co-governance of 3 waters. It's been put into resource management law. The 3 bills for replacing the Resource Management Act will be filled with co-governance provisions. The history curriculum is being designed to tell the next generation that everything in New Zealand is about colonisation, and most of the students are guilty before they open their textbook. People came from England to escape class. They came from India to escape caste, from China to escape a one-party state, and from South Africa to escape apartheid. If you were to sum up the history of this country, it is people dreaming of an equal chance. We have moved towards the light of liberty by removing distinctions in law that once treated people differently depending on their religious conviction, their gender, or their race. And most recently, our Parliament decided to remove gender from the marriage laws. Many countries have never achieved that. People might be a bit sceptical about a party leader giving a speech on nationhood at this particular point in the political cycle. Well, I want to reassure you that last passage I read was lifted from my maiden statement to Parliament in 2014. And here's another passage from my 2017 book, Own Your Future, which I might add is still for sale on the ACT Party website if anyone needs a spare copy, looking for a present or just something to do. It's there, it's a goodie. And here's an example of what you might get. In the Auckland Town Hall, 456 people from 58 different countries take an oath and accept New Zealand citizenship. You can't avoid feeling emotional as 456 souls proudly throw their lot in with New Zealand. Many of them are tearful as they get something that most people reading this book are born with. And he's a great showman, as we now know. Mayor Len Brown stops the ceremony because a particular new citizen is having their birthday that day. And he leads the town hall in an impromptu singing of Happy Birthday. The old town hall in Auckland has a carnival atmosphere. And at the end of the ceremony, the MC asks people from each origin country to make some noise. There's huge cheers for South Africa, huge cheers for the United Kingdom, for China. And everyone gets into it. There was a couple there from Estonia. There was a family from France. There was one poor guy from Namibia, but he really went for it, all by himself. And then it comes to Australia. And there's this low, nervous murmur before the crowd erupts into applause. And in a split second, these new New Zealanders show they understood the Aussies are the butt of our jokes and our best friends as well. That's New Zealand at its best. 456 people from 58 countries, uniting as Kiwis. The idea that one group of people should be tangata whenua, elevated above others, seems so alien in that environment. Labour forgets that New Zealand is not just Maori and Pākehā. There are now as many Kiwis of Asian origin as there are Maori. There are half as many Pacific Islanders calling New Zealand home. We need to reinvent the Kiwi identity as an outward-looking, multi-ethnic nation-state committed to liberal democracy, the only system of government that has delivered peace, safety and prosperity to humans in the entire history of our species. No society where people have different political rights based on birth has ever been a success. Actually, If you think about it, every good political movement of the last 400 years has been about basic equality. This pervasive drift to division has to stop. And that involves a blunt reality. Nobody is born special. There cannot be two types of people. Tangata whenua here by right and tangata tiriti here by the grace of the treaty. All people born in this country or who immigrate here have the right to 1/5,000,000th of the opportunity it has to offer. The next government will not be able to simply stop doing things that divide New Zealand. We will have to actively reverse the divisive idea that there are two kinds of New Zealanders, and that is normal and our destiny. We will need to remove the constant references to the treaty from the law and replace it with a commitment to liberal democracy, one person, one vote, and equality for all in a multi-ethnic nation state. It means removing co-governance structures from healthcare, from resource management, infrastructure and education. It means going through the statute books and removing the distinctions in law that hold my Māori ancestors as legally different from my European ones. It doesn't mean that there cannot be devolution of services. Charter schools are the one thing in politics that I'm proud of above all else. There's no reason that a school such as Te Kupaku High in Hamilton cannot thrive, but on the same basis that Sir Michael Jones and Pacific Advanced Senior School can't also thrive just up the road. It doesn't mean that we're not deeply concerned about making sure that opportunity is truly equal. I would argue ACT is more focused on the real solutions to that challenge than any. But Māori don't have unique challenges. They only have challenges at a greater extent that all New Zealanders face. We need to make housing more accessible. We need to reduce recidivism from the justice system. We need to make sure that we close the yawning gap between university entrance and school attendance that exists between a Decile 1 school and a Decile 10 school. The difference is that we're committed to uniting rather than dividing New Zealand in this mission for real equality.